Hi all, welcome to my new little vlog. Before us I've got this beautiful smoking jacket and it's for a wedding next year. It was my client's mother's brother's uncle, something like that in France. So it's a very, very old jacket. It could be 50, 60-year-old plus. And it's all hand stitched, all hand felled like we do in the trade in the bespoke world. The whole sleeve is hand felled, and also this is a silk facing here. It's like a shawl collar here. And even this has been hand felled. You can actually see the hand felling stitches. I don't think the video will pick it up. It's all hand stitched on the edge here, inside to catch the lining, and it's hand stitched here, right on the edge here of the facing onto the coat. And this is the traditional way, even in bespoke world, we do this way. When we're actually going to put silk facings on, we have to do it by hand. So this is a very beautiful old jacket, vintage jacket. Now he wanted me to redesign it for him to spice it up a little bit, so I decided to, I gave him an option here of turn back cuffs. You can actually see there, these are turn back, beautiful cuffs from silk. This is very expensive silk. It's pretty about £120 plus a metre, and this is what we call double faced silk satin silk, and they use it on the lapels. So I put it onto the cuffs now. You can see, got a beautiful look now to that. Now usually the one side where the cuff is, where your buttons go, that's usually curved. A lot of Savaro, they'll just keep it straight underneath because the vent actually hides it underneath. But I've opted to have it both, so you know, you can actually see that shape there anyway. So that's what I've opted to do that. Also to emphasize this silk, beautiful turn back cuff here, I'm putting beautiful silk buttonhole, silk buttons, ups the daisy. These are pure silk buttons. So this is a midnight blue button, silk button, and that's a midnight blue silk facing. So they complement the two. So I'm just going to put these buttons on now. Now, traditionally, you can see they're all hand stitched because this is an old jacket. It's the real bespoke way, even though it's probably made in the factory, because the old days, 50, 60, 70 years ago, we didn't have an automated system what we do now. So skilled tailors actually worked in the factories and they were hand stitching everything. So you can actually see now, these are what we call sham buttonholes. So they're not working buttonholes, but they're all done with an embroidery stitch. You can actually, some of you that do embroidery, you'll recognize this stitch here. It's called the chain stitch. So I've actually emulated this. I've copied that because there was only 3 of these chain stitch buttonholes. So I've made another one. So I've made a 4th one there because it was only 3. And because I've had to lengthen the sleeve anyway. I've had to include another buttonhole by hand. So there we have it. So now I'm just going to just put the buttons on. So I'm just going to go on what we call a top vent. So I've just basted it together so it doesn't move. I'm just going to go under there, under that top vent, and then I'll just go right to the edge where that button's going to be. And then I'm going to put the buttons on. Now, I always suggest, because I always like to give tips and tricks along the way, so some of you sewers can help. You can be helped by my methods. This is button thread. Always use button thread for all of your buttons. Whatever buttons you're going to put on anything, always use button thread. So I'm using this button thread. You can see now, you cannot break it. It will slice through my fingers. You can see, you can't break it. I see like these sewing group forums, they double the thread, they triple the thread, they use normal thread where they quadruple the thread. It's no, what's the point? Just buy yourself button thread. You won't need to triple it or quadruple it or whatever. I just do a single strand. That's it. It's fine. If you want to, you can actually double it if you wanted to, but I'm not going to do that. So yeah, so just, you know, just get the best equipment you can, the best tools, the best threads, because even I've seen in sewing groups, there's problems with their machines because they're using very cheap threads. And what's happening is they're not mercerizer threads, and they can't can't run through the machine properly. And also the needles, they buy cheap, unbranded needles, and it can actually harm the machine, can break the machine. So always be aware of what things you buy, and try and get the best you can. And also, this is why I always say, if you're going to want, I know most of you are hobbyists. There's a lot of hobbyists out there, but you know, even hobbyists want to learn professional methods and techniques. And I always suggest go and invest and learn from a professional. and you can't go wrong. You'll learn correct, efficient, good methods that will really help you. You'll become more efficient, you know, you become faster, and you'll get a beautiful professional finish, which we all want anyway. Even if you're a hobbyist, you still want a beautiful professional finish on all your sewing projects, I should say. Now, I'm just going to go through here. Some tailors don't go through. I mean, if I'm doing a pure bespoke jacket, I won't go through here because I don't like thread showing through there. So I'll just go through just at the top layer and I'll come back. I want to anchor this silk button down. So I don't want it to move because these are very expensive, these silk buttons are. So I don't want them to be lost. So I'll just go through the shank here. And then I'll just anchor it down. Let's go through to the other side again. So as I said, yeah, if you can get button thread, you can't go wrong because it's really strong. As you can see, I can't break it with my fingers at all, my hands. So just be aware of all the stuff that you buy. Try and get the best within your budget and you can't go wrong. I'm just going to go through that shank here. And then I'll probably do about 3 times. And I'll just show you how we do it in the trade. So just go, this is my 2nd time now. Going through. I said if I'm making a jacket, I won't go through to the other side, but I'll just go to the top layer and come back again, but it's fine for this jacket. So I'm just going to go through one more for a good look here. And when you come back to go to the next button, you still come through the top, your top button, or which button you're going through. And then what you do here, a little tip for you here, you don't get back down, go through. Can you see I'm just going under the fabric, I'm going underneath now to the next button hole here, and that's what we do. So basically we keep it a continuous thread, we don't chop anything. You see, now I've gone through to the next thread here, and I'll keep doing that on, then I'll go, once I've finished put the button on, then I'll go underneath and I'll come out on the other buttonhole. And that's how we do it in the trade. So you got one continuous thread here. Can you see what I'm doing there? So that goes here. So go through the shank, and I'll just go continue with the. So I'm just going to continue down, and I'll see you on the other side. Don't want to bore you. Okay, ciao.